Welcome to the Gangcast, aka the Games and Not Games podcast. I'm Jen Garcia, and joining me as always is Isaiah Smith.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
Yeah. I know we're gonna get to a little bit later, but I'm feeling good. We got fun times ahead of us, fun times behind us. It was a good week. It's
there's something menacing about the way you're talking. I feel like you're trying to convince yourself that it's going good. It's
no,
scary.
the week was good. I'm telling you. Yeah, no, it was good.
I actually think we did have a really good week.
We're good.
But yeah, I think the thing is that I think you just want to get back to playing your game. You get really into when you find a game that you really love. It eclipses everything, and everything you're doing is just like not the game.
How many games a year do you play that you would say you love, though? You know what I mean? Like to me, it's a rare occurrence to find a game that truly grabs you that you just love. I think it happens once, maybe twice a year. I feel like I got a couple this year. I think I got like 3, 4.
You got a lot. I think it's because you're a love slut.
Oh man, no.
For games at least, because I'm thinking about games that I love, like in that way. And I think I just love games in a less intense way in general, because the games I love, like Epic Mickey, I loved. I'm like,
but you love games for longer too.
I do, yeah. The ones I really love, like they stick with me, like Jack and Daxter. Yeah, like when I'm extreme, but it's like from my perspective, not that extreme because you don't attach these like I attach to Jack and Daxter. But it's like, what if those came out multiple times a year and I got like crazy into it? That's like how. Well. Also, the reason I say that you're like a game love slut is because I think you like have these big like flings with these games, and then you move on, and then you find another game. It's not like you're still thinking about that game later. You're just like, yeah, it was good.
No, that's fair.
And then you're on to your next
I can
thing.
go back into my mind palace and think about when I was playing Animal Well and how good of a time that was. And that sticks with me for the year. Actually, it sticks with me a little bit longer. Like, I still think sometimes about how good Chance of Sinar was. Because that game was so different. It's like, fuck, that game was so good. So, yeah. It's not often, but every once in a while, there's games from previous years continues to kind of like set the bar even for like today's games where it's like, oh man, but like, how does this compare to Chance of Sinar? You know what I mean? But yeah.
All right. Well, that brings us to our first topic, which is games.
Yeah.
Which starting with
games.
the game that I was alluding to is Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
I don't know.
Anyway,
if I had better like visual effects, I'd give us laser.
Oh my god, that would be so good. Damn.
Yeah.
If you only listen to the podcast, just know that the video version has us with laser eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't go check though.
Yeah. Yeah. So this game came out it's like halfway through the year, like May was when this dropped, and it got a lot of hype when it came out. It's pretty critically acclaimed. It's colloquially acclaimed from just the people I talked to who are into it. But I just kind of missed the boat, and I'm like, it's also kind of long. It's like 16 hours. Like, it's also a thinky game, a puzzle game. So I just sort of have been putting it off. But I have, we talked on a few episodes ago about our backlogs and things like that. Mm-hmm. And this was one of the ones on both of our lists. And I was like, when we play it, I want us to play it together. And if I don't like it, I can just quietly leave, and you can go into the sunset with this puzzle game. So, what is this game? Like, how would you describe this game?
This game is like playing a traditional Resident Evil game, but without like any zombies or combat, where you sort of arrive at this mansion.
Hotel.
It's a hotel in this case, but metaphorically, it's just a mansion. There's tons of doors with keypads on them and locked doors with keys that are made very bespokely for each door. It's like, oh, this is the square key. This is the heart key. Like, I'm pretty sure like Resident Evil 2 has those. Yeah, has those exact same keys in it. There's like keypads that you have to like find the key code for. There's books you can pick up, and like there's, contextually clues in in some of the books or notes or documents you pick up. That might like lead to clues to open some of these doors and open new pathways and things like that. And there's also like, this isn't necessarily Resident Evil, but kind of Resident Evil. There's like this weird story that they're telling you about, I don't know, some art piece, and you're I don't know if you're like a lawyer woman I don't know if you're Lorelei or if Lorelei is somewhere still in this mansion, or it never existed, or is just the art piece itself. Like, I don't know what the story they're trying to tell is. And to be honest, I don't care. I don't need it. I just give me more doors to open, more puzzles to solve, and I'm having a good time with that alone. Again, Animal Well is one of my games of the year, and there's next to no story in that. It's just, hey, here's some cool puzzles.
Isn't there like a story though, like an overarching like, right?
Your guess.
For some people, isn't that like their, they like love like when you put the bunny next to the cat, and then it turns out that
I think
you were dead the whole time. I don't know, right?
I'm sure there is a story somewhere in that game. It did not come through for me, but I'm not a story sicko. I'm a puzzle sicko.
Yeah.
And so as long as the puzzles are good, I could care less about the story.
Yeah. I also am a little bit like turned around by the story of this game. And I do think like if I sat down and really forced myself to puzzle out the story, I would understand. But I kind of only get like glimpses of it. Like you mentioned, it's like, okay, well, there's this weirdo dude who like invites you here to this hotel, and you're reading all these different pieces about like, I forgot the name of the artist, but there's like this one artist who's doing really like toxic art. Like he has like really experimental art pieces, and people are like, we don't really ride for this anymore. Like it's getting weird. Like,
yeah.
So
it's like he wanted to turn the hotel into an art piece is kind of how, or at least a part of the hotel into an art piece. And the company who he like hired to do that was like, actually, we don't want any part to do with this.
Yeah,
Never
there's
mind,
like a lot of liabilities. Like,
Yeah.
There's also like very, very, very early in the game, like one of the first things you do is you see a Polaroid of a dead woman. So there's also like a bit of like a tinge of murder mystery almost, or like what's going on. Though funnily enough, like everyone's like, wait, the main character is way too chill about the murder part. Like,
bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like she's like a lawyer or like a detective or someone who's just like showed up. She has like this briefcase that she carries her things around in. She's got her hair tied up in that like woman lawyer bun.
It's not really
she's
a briefcase.
Like
She has a clutch. Okay, Isaiah. She's
but
holding
it's
a clutch.
big. It's like a bag.
Yeah, it's the big clutch.
Well, I feel like a clutch is like one of those like handheld things. I thought
you got to open your mind to what a clutch can be.
Yeah, all right,
a clutch
enough.
is any purse that doesn't have a string.
You know what it looks like? An old school doctor bag.
Yeah, it is designed like that.
Where it's like triangular in shape. You kind of like almost like do like a little twist to pop open the top.
Yeah, it has like a twist enclosure to it.
Yeah.
But I've seen plenty of but it definitely is like it feels like a clutch of the days of yore because it has that that snap.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean there are like huge clutches. Like a clutch can be like the size of a small child.
That's not a clutch.
That is a clutch.
Bag, man. That is.
A clutch is about the way you hold it. Is that you have to clutch it.
So you just take the strap off of anything and now it's a clutch? I take a book bag and I take the straps off.
Yeah, and actually some clutches do convert to like, this is like the size of clutch that you think of with a clutch, like almost like a big wallet size.
Yeah.
But no, a clutch is any bag that doesn't have
all right
strings. And it's like,
look, I'm going to be the last person to try to tell you about fashion.
Well, here's the thing. You
that'll make sense to me.
Out here trying to drag my bag obsession, but it's coming in handy with this game.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, I guess back to what the game is too. One of the big parts of the game is that there's only one button, and it's just like interact.
Oh my god!
There's
only the worst part about this game.
There's only one
far.
input.
Everything is action.
Every button can be that input, but there's only like move, like directionally with the joystick, or I'm sure like the arrow keys if you're playing on PC, and then just interact. And like if you're interacting, like hitting a button like A, B, X, whatever. And you're not next to an interactable object, it opens the menu. But the annoying part of it, I'd say the only part that I really like cannot ride with, because I actually opened up a lot more to like that structure of like, oh, you can open the menu just with any button and interact with any button. And I kind of warmed up to that after a while. I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm cool with it. What I'm not cool with is that there is no back button from the menus. So when you're in a menu, to leave the menu, you have to go to like where it says like X to like go back or to close. And that's just annoying. It's not intuitive. I think the other limitation of there only being an interact is that when you're selecting, like the menu is kind of almost like, maybe there's a better word for this, Isaiah, but like computer style. You know how when you go to like like external storage and it kind of shows. Yeah,
it's really like tabbed.
It's like column tabs.
Or like a file browser kind of look to it where you open up the menu, you're up and downing to whatever like section of the menu you want to go into, and then you're entering into that. But then to like leave that section, 9 times out of 10, you have to like hit a designated like back button or close button. Every once in a while, you can just like left arrow out of a menu, but for the most part, it's like no, you're hitting this dedicated close button.
I'd say for the nested menus, you can like hit left. It also may seem like, why are you guys talking so much about the menus? This game is all about menus. Like,
yes, you are in and out of these menus all the time.
This is a menus game. Like, this is a game that would have ate down on the Nintendo 3DS because you would have been able to have that second screen.
Yeah.
This is a game that would really, really benefit from a second screen, honestly. Maybe even a third screen. Give me one for the map, one for the menu.
Honestly, the fact that you can't, and I don't know, maybe we get lucky and eventually you get some like shortcut buttons you could set or something like that. I doubt it. No. But man, if I could just like assign start to open open a specific thing. Even give me that in this game.
Yeah,
improves so much.
I think that definitely being able to like, what's the word for that? Quick map, hot map.
Yeah, hot map, quick map. I would say quick map.
Yeah, like being able to be like, oh, up in the D-pad's the map, or like this thing is that you can favorite something on here. Like it just doesn't really have any of that, and I think part of that is to try to keep the focus on that, like going back in. They like kind of want it to be. What's the word? Like difficult, I guess, in a way, or like they want the friction there. I think so to convey. I think the old school point and click style. It's not a point and click game by any means because you are inherently walking, so it's not a point and click. But I feel like they want to evoke like the old school, and the old school is like it's a little annoying, isn't it? And it's like, and I don't hate it. It's just it makes it so that like I find when I play, we're playing it together. It's a single player game, but. I did it on my stream on my personal channel, and you were the one with your hands on the sticks. Then when we played at night, I was the one controlling it. And as the person controlling it, I felt like I had to really like lock in with the menu. It's like the careful SpongeBob, careful, because I didn't want to like keep like falling over myself on it. So that part is like I guess a mixed bag a bit. I think there's a lot of negatives. It's not all negative. I think the number one L is just the no back button.
Yeah,
I can live with everything else.
Button, and I can live with having to nest like 8 layers deep into some menus. That's fine.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But other things to describe about the gameplay is that you're basically so you have a photographic memory, which is super convenient. Thank really nice. Freaking God. So everything you pick up, almost everything you interact with, like you can refer back to within that menu by just going to your photographic memory. All the posters, all the books, all the napkin notes. Whatever. Very text heavy game too. So if you don't want to read, this will not be a game you will enjoy.
Man, I actually wonder. I would actually argue there's not too much you need to read, at least so far that we've seen. There's not too much you need to read as much as like whenever they give you like a note or document or something that's going to have like clues on it, they usually highlight it in some way with like red substance.
They call
it substance. It could be blood. It could be ink. Who knows? Most of the time they're highlighting it with like the substance, this red paint.
Yeah.
And so like if you wanted, you could go through the game probably just scanning only like 4 red underlined things and like making note of that.
I don't think so though, because I mean we're fairly early into the game and we already ran into a couple things where I felt like I had to recall, like make the connection and the connection wasn't written in red. Like that one name thing and then the whatever. So I do think you need to read it. And I think it would be hard. I think maybe you could do it, but it would be a much harder and inherently worse experience. Kind of like when you have those games where, people have this all the time if they play games that are in foreign languages that they don't know. But like, I kind of just figured it out. Yeah, but like that's kind of a brute force, rough thing. I think if you don't want to read, I think that this game would not work for you. But it's not like you're reading like all the time, but a lot of the notes and things will be like several paragraphs, but not everything is like that, and I think that's what makes it like tolerable. Unlike if you play like an open world game and there's notes, those notes are almost always like 8 paragraphs in like an open world game.
No,
this isn't like that. It's that's like sometimes you'll hit like a dense reading, and then sometimes it'll just be like a couple sentences
here's a stick figure.
or a map or or something. But yeah, it's a lot of just opening locks, basically, like putting in lock combos. I think is the main thing that you're like hunting for. How to open the doors up,
Every once in a while you get like a sort of like a sliding puzzle kind of situation or environmental clue puzzle kind of thing. But yeah, no, the vast majority of it is like figuring out the numbers to open various keypad combo padlocks around this hotel.
And occasionally getting items that you then like, okay, I can use this here. Like at one point you get like access to a phone. So if you were to get any phone numbers, you're like, oh, maybe I can call this person with the phone. Stuff like that. Where do you kind of rate the puzzle difficulty? Because this is something I was worried about going into this game. I'm like, how hard is this game going to be? For me, it is tough because I wish I could, in a non-mean way, I kind of wish I could play it without you and see if I'd even be capable of doing some of these puzzles. Because some of them I think are a bit hard, but it's tough for me to gauge how hard some of them are because you're also there. So like usually you know the answer. So I'm like, okay, well, cool. Like, but I'm like, how would I ever figure this out? I feel like some of them are a little hard, but they're not as crazy as I thought they were going to be. Like as a non-puzzle sicko, I was worried we were going to get right into the witness territory or like the Talos Principle territory, which I get that the witness and Talos Principle are much more like open environment.
Sure.
Mechanism connection puzzles. Like I feel like when you play at least Talos Principle, like which I was super early on, it's like, or even, I mean, it's an way easier game, but like Viewfinder, like you're walking into, it's a puzzle. Like you're immediately in a puzzle. Like you have to solve the puzzle. While Lorelei, because you can't explore, there are sometimes options to be like, well, I don't know if this is meaningful yet. Like, let me go look around. And I think that does help make it less crazy of a puzzle. But as the resident puzzle expert, what is your read on the difficulty of Lorelei?
Oh man, I would say it's nothing like too crazy. I think the biggest challenges so far that we've run into is just like, and I feel like they kind of do this in like a Resident Evil 2, right? Where they sort of like upfront a lot of the locks that you'll run into, knowing that, okay, eventually we're going to start giving you keys. And this is like metaphorical lock and metaphorical key and also literal locks and keys. But like, it's like, hey, oh, here's a door you can't get into. Oh, hey, here's a box you can't get into. Oh, hey, here's a computer you can't get into. Oh, hey, here's a thing you can't get into. And then eventually they'll start drip feeding you like clues and combo, lock combinations and giving you the pieces to start like putting together. Oh, that one door way back there at the beginning of the hotel. Maybe this is this, the combo for that. And like, so in the very beginning, there's a lot of things that you just physically cannot solve unless you like brute force it, which I feel like defeats the purpose of a game like this. But it's like, hey, here's a whole bunch of stuff that you just you cannot solve yet. Keep walking around, keep exploring. I think someone in chat mentioned it's kind of like the first, 10 minutes of like an escape room where it's like, all right, I'm not going to try to solve any of the puzzles yet. I'm just going to try to find all the locks so that I can like start to contextually piece together when I do come across solutions or answers or keys. Oh, maybe it goes to this lock. So I don't think it's that difficult yet. Maybe a 7 out of 10 where it's good. It's, it's definitely some puzzles that stump me. There's some.
But for the difficulty or for the quality of the game?
I would say difficulty.
Okay, good difficulty.
Yeah. There's nothing
for me, this is more like an 8 out of 10 for difficulty, I would say.
Really?
At least, yeah.
Okay.
With like, I guess a 10 out of 10 is like that weird game you played in Dreams.
Oh man, that game was so
or something.
Good.
And the Witness I never really gave a real try to because I was playing it on mobile, so I got to retry it. But I would put like the Witness, stuff like that. Like that's like maybe 10 out of 10 difficulty.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. And then Portal I would put at like a 6 out of 10 difficulty or something.
Yeah, I would say.
So I would put this like, because the Portal, I feel like I didn't have any difficulty with Portal because I think
maybe this is closer to like
this
6.
is kind of apples and oranges, but I feel like there are puzzles, like a puzzle game like Portal is a game that you can figure out by just attempting. And that's something that I really need and that kind of limits me also in puzzles, in learning rules. Like I need to like have my hands on it and get to try it out. And that's why like, we did a puzzle together where you're basically reading different blueprints and then the blueprints have like the answers to the code. It'll be like, this is James's blueprint. And you like solve a puzzle on the blueprint. And that'll be like the code for James's like, canister thing that opens up like a map. That's the structure of one of the puzzles. And Isaiah was very big on like, let's go through all of these and solve them all. I said, no. Because I'm like, we got them in the menu. Let's try one. Because then it's like, okay, now I kind of know that we're on like a good track. We seem like we know what we're talking about. Like I need to be executing like, I don't want to just write all my answers in and submit them all at once. I want to submit them one at a time and like constantly have my hands on stuff. I think that's what makes Portal like easy-ish to me. Like, I don't think it's like a hard puzzle game almost at all, but it's a really interesting puzzle game because I think it layers and builds and stuff, but it does it slowly. So yeah, I would put this maybe at an 8, which in Animal Well, I would say it starts at like a 7 and I think it ends at a 10, which I think like, I think by the last,
no, that's fair.
The last third of that game feels like it's at a 10 because it's like, if you don't, it's one of those things where if you know it, oh, you're good. But if you don't, like you have no options, is the thing. So yeah. So I think it is, I don't want to say it's dumb friendly because it's not quite easy enough to be dumb friendly, but I do think that if you're not that good at puzzles, it's a game that you can still try, because I do think because you are doing just so much exploration and a lot of the answers are like not obvious, but I think there's some clarity to what's going on. It's like, okay, you know, they're asking for, I don't know, some of the stuff is like a little bit straightforward, where I think you could figure it out. But I think what makes this game like good as a puzzle game, like more challenging or intriguing, is not every obvious answer is an answer. Like there's a, early on we encountered like a set of mixed up posters that seemingly were associated to Roman numerals, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm like, oh, like clearly the correct order of the posters is like the combination for the lock that's next to these posters and the number. And it wasn't. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because you would think that that would be the answer. Another way I think this game has strong puzzles is in most games you do like one step to get them. And in this game, I feel like a lot of times you have 2. Like there was a puzzle we encountered that I'm trying to remember the details of it while also being vague of it. It was like, it was that weird like number poster thing.
Yeah. So
I forget like what the setup of that puzzle.
There was a poster or, a poster that had sort of numbers in a keypad like display, right? Kind of like the positions on a computer keypad kind of thing. And the title of the poster was a Roman numeral, and next to the poster was a keypad. And so you had to like take these 3 separate pieces of information, the like what the Roman numeral was, what that kind of equates to, and then what the position of those buttons are based on the poster, like visually looking at the poster as a keypad. Yeah. And then like combine all that to unlock the door or whatever, right? And it's like, yeah, like they're not like one note puzzles. Very rarely is there so far been like one note puzzles.
Yeah, especially as you go. I think at first it was like, today's Tuesday, and they're like, and the puzzles, what day is it? It must
like
be
day
Tuesday.
Of week, or something like that.
It must be Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, but I think they do have like a lot of extra layers. I think occasionally there are some things that sort of are harder for me to parse out. Like in the puzzle that we're talking about now with the poster, I couldn't like really make out what those numbers were because they were very stylized. And I'm like, you're like, okay, that's a 6. I'm like, is it? Like, because they sort of were like, I forgot what kind of art style that is, but they were in a typography that looked a little bit funkier.
It looks like if you have like an Apple Watch, it looks like that one face where it's like a wave, almost like a paintbrush got smeared across the face, and so
I have to go into my
like
Apple
some
Watch.
weird casting and shadows
I'm
to
sure
a very flat design.
Someone that knows typography more is like, oh, that's like this one, like because it's a very common style, but it just was a little hard for me to read, and it was at a weird angle too. So I'm like,
if you're I wonder how
the accessibility
of this game has to be kind of rough. Not that I'm not an accessibility expert or anything like that, but like there are elements of this game where you have to visually be able to see a clue, and there's not like a prompt or anything to examine certain scenarios further or anything. Like you just got to kind of notice and see it in the world. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that could be a little rough.
For sure, yeah. But yeah, I'm enjoying it overall. But it is funny, like being like so close to you when you're like this, because it's like I want to play the game, but I feel like, damn, I don't want to play the game enough. You know what I mean? I guess it kind of reminds me of what my brother went through when I got really into Smash Melee and Mario Party 4 at the same time on the GameCube, and literally every day I wanted to play this game, and he likes those games too. So I love great games.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't like it the way you like it.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, okay, like whenever you want to play though,
Wait.
I'm waiting right here.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
like you
I
like it.
Wait, I don't like it. So I do feel like not pressure in that way, but I am kind of just like, I don't know. It feels a little weird. Like I don't know if you've had that experience where it's like, I mean, maybe you have, because there's games I love that you're not as into, like Overcooked.
Yeah.
Though I tried,
but I could get into Overcooked.
Yes.
And you can get into that. Like you,
yeah, and I like
you seem
it,
like you were
but
really into it last night when we were playing.
I feel like much like me with Overcooked, like with Overcooked, I was trying actively. I'm like, let me not like get too excited. Let me chill. So I wonder if you're also like, let me not bring up Lorelei. Let me just kind of whatever.
Yeah. Whenever you want to play, I'm here. I'm waiting. I'm ready.
Yeah, when you're done editing, we can play, assuming that we already ate dinner,
Hey,
lunch,
man,
or whatever.
This is about to be the fastest edit.
It's like just the raw footage. Upload, which I mean, it almost is anyway. But like
Yeah,
the
I don't
start,
do too much.
it's like us sitting for 5 minutes before we start the show. Any other Lorelei thoughts that you want to touch on, or things you want to get to? I think the money thing is cool in the game.
Yeah, there's like American dollars, not U.S. dollars, but American dollars that you can find. This game is set in like, what is it? I think it's like
1960.
I don't know if it's 2014 or if it's like 1996 or something like that. It's set in some time, maybe a couple different times. Who knows? But like, yeah, a currency you find in the game is like American dollars, and you can find them literally anywhere. It could be like laying on the ground. It could be inside a book that you pick up to read. It could be behind a shelf that you interact with. Who knows? And we found a gumball machine kind of thing in the hotel where presumably you can give it these dollars and you get stuff back. But the game like straight up tells you in the instruction booklet, like, also, you'll come across American dollars. Be careful spending them. There's a finite number, and who knows what you might need them for later on.
Which
and
is also
like,
a really interesting construction. Where like you find early on, if you're like exploring thoroughly enough, which it's a game where you explore, so you should be opening all this stuff. But they have like an instruction manual that tells you like a bunch of stuff about like how to play the game, like
meta, fourth wall breaking.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're playing Lorelei and the Laser Eye.
Yeah.
This is a game about this.
It's like a manual save game too, which is lightly worth noting. I think too, let's see, one thing that I thought was really interesting is that in your purse right away, one of the things you have is a tampon.
Yeah.
Or maybe multiple tampons. I think it says
I think it's
tampons. Tampon. Yeah, you have a tampon.
Yeah.
I'm fucking waiting with bated breath for us to use this tampon. What's going on with this tampon?
I have a guess, but I don't want to say it because
you're right or something? Or like,
not that I'm right, but just more like
we think you're stop
someone's
bullet wound with this tampon.
Yeah, that's what, yeah,
is that your guess?
Yeah.
My guess is that like you're in the bathroom and someone's like, "Hey, do you have a tampon?" You just hand it over. Just a good Samaritan. But yeah, there's also a lot of other fun stuff in the game that we haven't quite encountered yet. I think we're about would you say we're like 3-4 hours in at this point?
Yeah, if they give you like a percentage. I don't know if it's necessarily like a percentage for completeness or like what they call it, like truth unlocked.
Yeah, your goal for the game is to discover the truth.
Yeah,
and they said you don't need 100% to beat the game.
But we're in like the high teens. Like I think we're less than 20, but more than 15 kind of thing. And we've been playing probably
definitely at least 2 hours, maybe up to 4 hours.
Yeah, I would say
somewhere
like
between 2 and 4.
Probably 4 and a half even.
So we haven't actually encountered like the I guess the consequence of this mechanic, but there's also you have a physical temperature where it's like are you cold? Are you too like, I don't know if you can get too hot. We were wearing a jacket. We hung up our jacket like 2 hours ago. I don't know if that was a good idea.
I put it back on.
Oh, you put it back on?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if we'll need to go outside again.
And you have what do they call it? Like it's like you need to use the bathroom.
Yeah, there's a bladder meter.
Bladder meter.
And then like you can also get coffee. Like there's like little coffee
like a caffeine
espresso
thing.
Machines around the hotel.
The espresso.
We haven't found like a coffee cup or anything.
I'm fucking so excited to get a coffee cup in this game. Yeah, I'm liking it quite a bit. It's tough because I'm just like not a puzzle freak, so it's like I don't know how high this is like rating for me necessarily. I think it's definitely competitive for, I just released my updated top 10 list on my website, Pentapixels. And I think there's definitely a chance it could be in there because that bottom 6 is like a little looser.
Sure.
Maybe like definitely like 8, 9, 10. It's like, I'm kind of waiting to like replace you with something. And maybe some of the other ones too, even though like I do have Animal Well on the low or ish end. And I do think that game is really good. And it's like, is this game really going to be better than Animal Well? It's like, even though I did get mad at Animal Well, it was pretty good. So it's like, like, I don't know. So we'll see. It's definitely competitive for top 10. We also have what is it? Is it Case? Not Case of the Golden Idol. What do they call it?
Rise of the Golden Idol.
Rise of the Golden Idol, which I need to check out as well.
Yeah. Which I'm excited for that because I have Case of the Golden Idol and I never played it because I don't know so everyone told me it was good, but then when I found out it was like a point and click game, like it's a point and click game good, I was like, oh, I'm less interested. But now having played this, which is basically a 3D point and click game, I'm like, you know what? Maybe Rise and Case of the Golden Idol can be
point and clicks are awesome, but they are like stiff. Like I want to just be able to walk. I don't like clicking because I feel like you always walk so slow. And it's funny because Lorelei, or the main character or whatever, also walks really slow. But like she has so much swag when she walks. I don't mind she walks slow. 'Cause she walks so sassily. She's got her little clutch and her like slick back bun and her nice like tailored pants. Like it's like, oh, I don't know. I feel like you almost feel like a badass like walking through the game, even though you're just like walking down a hallway. I'm definitely interested in continuing, and I'm excited to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, man. Any game that people recommend you have a pen and paper alongside you for when you play, I'm like, hell yeah, shoot that shit directly into my veins. Yeah,
that's Isaiah loves to like bring out the iPad and the Apple Pencil and just start taking notes, which is actually really convenient because I'm like, now I don't have to take any notes because my notes don't make any sense anyway. Like Isaiah takes way better notes than me, so it's been fun.
So yeah, Lorelei and the Laser Eye. So far, so good. Enjoying it. We'll play more, I'm sure. Hopefully today.
Yeah. And once we really got to finish this game because I want to get into our next game and beat that game as well, which is Lego Horizon Adventures. I think I have to double check the last
that sounds right.
name. I think that's right. Yeah, Adventures. This is a game that is the opposite of Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
Yeah.
This is a game where you don't think. You just move. You just move, and the truth comes to you. The truth is already known, which is that this game is really fun, even though it's really basic. It is a Lego game, so it has a really like simplistic structure, but also like in Lego fashion, it's based on like an existing IP, and it's like a cheeky version of that IP. You know, like, oh, that's how do we simplify it? How do we make some jokes? How do we throw in some like hot dogs and things in there? And that's what it is. It's based on the first game, the first Horizon game. You know, you play as Aloy. You can have another player as well, which you unlock a bunch of different characters that you can like swap to. And you're kind of just like going through some of the main plot points of the first game, but it's definitely like really like shrunk down. Like you find out like
very simplified, condensed version of the first game
super
story.
Condensed. And also a spoiler for the first game. So if you for some reason didn't play the first game but want to play this game, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that person exists, but you would want to play the first game before playing this game.
Well, yeah, the story is, it's weird. The story is like simplified enough that they really can only hit on like major beats that happen, but even then it's like condensed and like Lego-ified beats. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It is strange. I never thought about like, can this game spoil you?
Yeah, it does for sure. I mean, you might. It is so simple, you might not realize that you're being spoiled. Yeah, but it definitely is like. I
guess that's fair. Yeah.
Or you might be like, oh, I wasn't sure what was true or not, or what they were trying to say. But yeah, like it does have like major spoilers for the first game in it. So I don't know, but just be aware of that if you're looking to play it. What other things would you say for like the setup of this game? Explain what this game is.
I think it's having not played a Lego game in a while. I think last like Lego game I played was maybe like one of the earlier Batman games. And since then they've had, you know, all types of Lego games, Lego Harry Potter, Lego Marvel, Lego this, Lego that. Jumping back into this because I was excited for the Horizon IP. It is still very much a casual, I don't know if you call this action platformer. Like, what is this genre of game?
3D beat 'em up is what I would describe it. But that's not really a genre.
Accurate though.
I'll dig around and see what the storefronts are calling it.
A very casual version of that, right? Where it's not as big a platformer as Astro, but it has similar mindlessness to play as Astrobot, where it's like, oh,
whoa! I don't co-sign that comment at all.
I mean, as far as like, oh, if I give this to my 8-year-old nephew, he'll probably have just as much fun playing this as he would Astro.
Oh, that's what
because he's not like playing it necessarily for the good platforming design. He's playing it to punch things and see them explode into like confetti.
I think though Astro is easier to play than this game.
Ooh.
Like I think it presents the information in a more straightforward way
than
this game does, because
fair.
you do need to like have like the arrow aspect. You need to like.
But I think
Astro
is also harder too because of the platform.
That's tough.
There's some not easy.
I think if you get
parts.
if you get an easy enough character in Horizon Adventures, and I think also Horizon Adventures has difficulty in the game. Like you can put it to like the easiest. There's like 5 difficulties. We're playing on the middle one, which is like presumably kind of like the normal.
Yeah.
But they actually default start you on the one step down from normal, kind of like how EAFC does, where they like start you on like amateur.
Sure.
So I'm not sure what would be easier to play, but yeah, I mean, obviously mileage varies widely on what a kid can perceive, does perceive, wants in a game. Like, I think it just depends on what the kid, because like, is this kid a gamer, or is this kid a kid that just like casually plays games sometimes? Do they only, and then like, there's like so many factors that I wouldn't even begin to touch trying to perceive that, because I just feel like I can't wrap my head around it. But it is the way they describe it, genre-wise, is action adventure, which I would probably call it. Yeah, like I'd say it's a really casual action adventure game.
It's a linear adventure, but
adventure
nonetheless.
I mean, yes, it is like. It's an adventure the way going to the grocery store is an adventure. It's like you're kind of just going and picking up some stuff and coming back home. Like you're not really doing anything.
Technically, you can go down the aisles any way you want, or all right, cool.
Yeah, sort of. Except it's like 2 aisles that you can go down, and one of them is closed. This game is again super straightforward, very very like 3D beat 'em up style of game, but with like Horizon trappings. So the Horizon aspect of it is in Aloy having the bow and there being like the option to scan and see the yellow like glowing machine parts. Yeah, there's like certain machine parts that like in the main games you want to like target those, because if you like knock them off, it like weakens the creature a lot. Similar how there's like, you play a lot of these turn-based action RPGs and it's like destroy the arms first and then you can like, it's actually kind of like that, but in a more action setting. That is basically the only main mechanical similarities. There are a couple other things, like you can get an ice arrow bow at one point, or
you get a fire arrow bow.
Or like just a couple other Horizon-y things. Oh, at one point I unlocked a Shell Walker shield, which is like, oh, that's cool, because that's like from one of the machines, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But other than like those kinds of aspects, that's the only aspect that feels like, oh yeah, this is like the Horizon combat, because there's no dodge roll, there's no like there's not really trapping in the game from what we've seen around like chapter 2 or 3, like
at least not that we've seen it so far, at least.
Yeah, it's like very 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 simplified. But all that being said, I'm really enjoying the game. It is so fun because I'm a Horizon stan. Would you consider yourself a Horizon stan, or is that stan too far?
I mean, I'll definitely get any mainline game in the series. I'm not eager to play like that VR thing though, so I don't know if you call me a stan. That you know what I mean. If there's a whole game that I have access to that I am not interested in playing at all, I don't think I'm a stan. You should try but I'm a fan.
Because I think you'd get a kick out of what it is. It's interesting. The VR game, even though I also didn't finish it, which is like really damning on that VR game if I didn't finish it. But it was an okay game. Like the combat was like really really fun. It really wanted you to climb a lot, and I'm like, at a certain point, like I found the climbing in the game to be a lot more fun than the climbing in VR, because it's like I don't know, like whatever. There's also climbing in this game, which I think is really fun. Also, like the way the feeling of latching on to the little like
Lego latches,
like the Lego like ledges, feels really good. Even though like when I say there's climbing in this game, dead ass, it's like you go up like 3 steps and then you're done climbing. Like there's not any big
traversal,
exciting like area. They do have cauldrons though, and I like the cauldrons a lot. They look
they have a hunting
really
grounds.
Similar.
Like they have a lot of stuff that like contextual sort of elements to the game that are thematically pulled from the regular Horizon games, which I think is really cool and like a great nod if you've played the Horizon games. But it at the same time is also just like still the same Lego gameplay. Like whether you're in a cauldron or not, whether you're on a hunting ground mission or not, it's like the gameplay is still the same. Follow the path that they laid out in front of you. till you get to some area where you fight, a wave or two of monsters, and then you keep going. And along the way, maybe you'll come across some like secret Lego pieces currency that you can pick up, or like a treasure chest that you can like open for extra points or something. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Again, none of this is bad. I know it's like, I don't know, maybe coming across as maybe more negative, but it's not bad. It's just basic, but the basic is like good. You know what I mean? It's a cheeseburger, but it's a good cheeseburger. Like I'm enjoying a cheeseburger. I don't want cheeseburger. Cheeseburger isn't better than steak.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? It's
I
a
think
pretty
it's
good
closer to
cheeseburger.
some good fries to me, where it's like, these are good. Like, what are we eating though? And they're like, what do you mean? Like,
I think if it was a little more basic in what you could do, like the fact that they give you like, oh, you can like decorate the town once you get back, or you can don like
but
these
the decoration
costumes,
isn't as sad. As someone that loves decorating in games, I find the decorating to be very like dry, because you just kind of walk up.
You can just put a hot dog cart everywhere.
You
That
can,
is awesome.
and that is fun. But like, you don't really feel. I don't feel like I'm involved in it. Like, they don't make me feel like I'm making it. I kind of just click and then it appears. Like something about it. I feel very detached from the process.
Okay,
of getting
fair.
it done. And I think too, like the work to get it done doesn't feel like targeted. It's just like, oh, at a certain point I'll have like enough blocks and I can just click it. Like it feels very removed. I think for me, the number one like thing that really like holds this game back, and why most people talking about it, I imagine, would have like a similar take to you and me of like, yeah, it's not really that great, is that like if you play one level in this game, it's like you've played the whole game almost. Like I'd say the only exception is the fact that the cauldrons do play a little different. Like they try to add like a tiny smidge of feeling of environmental puzzle, where it's like you throw the bombs to open the lock. But I think that's like really my beef with the game. Like it feels very like underexplored, and in that sense underdeveloped. Like it looks really pretty. I have a really good time doing the things. I love being in the world. I like seeing the, I think narratively it feels like, I think the mechanics do not match the energy of what the narrative brings forth. Where like the things you bring up that this game does well, pulling on the Horizon lore and making a Lego version of it, cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh yay, there's Silence. That's fun. I know Silence. I know this person. Oh yeah, cool. But then when it comes down to what we're actually doing, it's lacking that level of dynamics. Like I'm excited by what I'm seeing, but what I'm doing is the same thing over and over again, which I know Horizon haters will say, well, that's how the main games are. But I truly don't think that's fully accurate. Like there are a lot of other, like the main games have these really cool like puzzle sections. The main games have climbing sections. There's in the second game, there's like, mount. I forgot if the first game has mounts.
I don't think it maybe it does like land mounts.
Yeah. I feel I'd have to, it's tough. They kind of blend together because they are really similar.
Yeah.
Like there's tribes that you help out over time. And like, and I get obviously this is going to be a more simplified version of that, but I think there's a lot. When I think about what I like about Horizon, I think about a lot of things. And when I look at this game, there's only like one thing that you do, where it's like, and it doesn't also explore that fully either, right? If they're going all in on just the combat, it's like, okay, well, we don't have like traps though, and we don't have these other things. And I know some people might say, oh, well, it's like a kid's game or kids friendly. I've played a lot of kid friendly games that are really fucking good. So like, let's not use the kid thing, because you're, fucking... Yeah. Can't read a book kid can play Mario Odyssey also. You know what I mean? So I think the whole like, oh, well, like, that's why it's not that good is just like a silly, like, I don't give a fuck. You should have said I couldn't buy it then. Okay. It says everyone 10 and up.
Yeah.
Which also like, that's a pretty old kid if you're 10. Like, I think when you're 10, you could play a lot of games that aren't like Horizon Adventures probably. So, but yeah, that being said, despite us kind of dragging it, I'm loving it because I'm just basic. So I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you don't end up doing everything that you need to do, but I'm gonna keep rocking with it.
Yeah. And again, I like you, I enjoy the world of Horizon enough that even if nothing else advances in the game I'm still down to just play it and just consume the Horizonness of it. You know what I mean? Like there's, again, you mentioned Aaron, there's Elizabeth, there's Varl, there's like all these characters that I know from the Horizon games that are here, and it's like, oh yeah, cool.
Can you tell me about Aaron and your time with Aaron? Because
so
this is really when the game started to glow.
Yeah, you can. It's a Lego game, and your characters are Lego pieces, and they also have like crossover with like other Lego IP, right? Like you can, like the Lego City kind of character costumes and stuff are available. You can unlock. There's some Lego Ninjago stuff you can unlock, and then I think just like general Lego. And one of the things you can do is like, oh, you can take your character into like their like costume customizer and then just like interchange parts of their character design from like other IPs, right? So you can have like Aloy can have, you know, a Lego Ninjago headpiece and a Lego City pant and I don't know, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And one of the combinations I found, it's not even really a combination. It's just literally one thing I changed was I was playing as Aaron, who's like this character. He's a big brawly guy. He carries a big hammer. He hits things hard and he's kind of like a drunk.
Which they don't explore the drunk aspect in the game. Which I knew they weren't going to, but I was hoping they would at least do a like, oh, he's
drinking soda.
He's drinking a bunch of
yeah.
milk, like or something. I don't know. I wanted some type of not alcoholism in this child's game. I can't. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed that they didn't have him with some fucking cider or something. But okay. Go ahead.
But yeah, like I went into character organization and like one of the things they had was this like, I don't know, woman headpiece. I think it was the like not Mother Earth, but like I forget what the character is, but in Horizon there's like this like mother AI character that you eventually come across. And I think it's her headpiece. So I took her headpiece, which is like this very almost like a Roman empress kind of like, you know, smooth head on the top down into like a long braid along the side
like
of your
flowy
head.
brown hair with like a side part, I think.
And I put it on Aaron, which is like this you know, bicycle handlebar mustache guy, and he looks now like, what was his name? I keep forgetting his
Jonathan
name.
Van Ness.
Jonathan Van Ness from like Queer Eye, and it's just like the funniest visual character
Aaron
combo.
now looks so beautiful. Like it is crazy.
Yes, he is a baddie. And you know it.
It is that classic thing that you'll see sometimes, you know, societally online of like the men where it's like, oh, you know, they let like someone do their makeup or they do makeup themselves. And it's like, oh, they look better than like most women. Like they just look like so pretty. Like Aaron looks like immaculate. Also just kind of looks like Jesus, who also looks like Jonathan Van Ness. So it's kind of kind of an all feeding into each other thing. But like
it's so funny.
And I think that moment really taps into what the magic of this game is for us and for people who will like the game, in addition to the Horizon aspect, obviously, but it's also the like stupidity of the Lego games. Like everyone's, you know, taste and humor and all that is different. So like some people will find this like kind of thing, like what we described. Oh yeah, that's like really like, I could see how that'd be funny. And so it would be like,
that's
so
dumb.
you put hair on him. So now the bad game's good. Like what? It's like, no, but y'all got to see the vision. Something that I got a kick out of was one of the community quests on like, because this game has a couple things outside of main missions, but not many. But they have like a community quest thing that's very similar to like how a lot of games have like sub challenges. Like Spider-Man has a million sub challenges of like, oh, get this many people strung up with like a web or whatever, stuff like that. They have that in this game, and one of them is to like feed 10 chickens, and he's like, oh, they're like, for this you need a chicken coop. So we're like, okay, how do you get that? We got the chicken coop, and then we're like, well, where do we feed them with? We'll run around the town. I'm like, I think there's corn somewhere or something, and I couldn't find anything. There's carrots, but people are eating them, so we couldn't use them. And then I saw that you could make like a hot dog cart in the town. I said, well, let's make a hot dog cart, and maybe we'll feed them the hot dogs. And Isaiah's like,
dumb.
They're not gonna eat hot dogs. And I was like, we don't know that. So we got the hot dog cart. 2 hot dogs got thrown at us, like, you know, like Rihanna throwing that money at that guy in that gif, you know. We picked up the hot dogs, we threw them towards the chickens, and sure enough, they ate the hot dogs. And it's stuff like that where I'm like, we're back, baby. The game is back. Like stuff like that is really fun. Other dumb, goofy nods that I enjoy are you can have a hot dog cart in combat stuff. Like they kind of periodically let you pick up like sub weapons, almost like in a roguelike kind of style where like randomly they'd be like, oh, pick one. And then you can pick one up, and one of them is the hot dog cart, and you put it down, and it's like a guy making hot dogs, but the hot dogs are like missiles that explode and kill like all these enemies. That's cool. They have a Lego brick separator that's just like you basically use it as like a big bat. So stuff like that is really fun. And that's kind of where it's like where the juice sort of is. It's like, okay, obviously there's the Horizon stuff, which is cool, but it's like, okay, there's also a couple little silly things like that we can enjoy along the way. It's kind of like almost like if you're at like maybe you're at a theme park and like it's not that interesting of a theme park, but there's a couple of rides that you like. And you're like, you know what? Between this, grab a corn dog, it's actually a good Saturday. And that's kind of what this game feels like.
Yes. Yeah. It's a fun time if you are willing to explore for your own fun to a degree. Then I think you can definitely find something here to enjoy.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to be like spoon fed the best time in the world, if
you don't want to work for it,
yeah, you might have a little bit of
yeah.
challenge.
I think if you're just like, oh my god, I'm curious because I love Horizon a lot, so I want to just like play, and I don't mind like a basic game. This could be for you. But if you're someone who's like, I want another good Horizon game, like no,
yeah, this is
not that. This is not that. This is just like it's almost like a walkthrough like exhibit because it's so like chill. It's like you're kind of just looking at it and you're like, oh, okay. Almost like from our Chicago episode when I took you to the underground, the underground like exhibit that's like they shrink you in the field museum.
Oh yeah.
It has like the mental simulation of walking through that exhibit. It's like you're kind of just looking at stuff and you do a couple things, but like then you turn and you're like, was that it? It's like that's kind of what this game is like. Like I think if you're someone that loves and we have this on the if you go to the video version you can see it, we have the Lego tall neck. If like the idea of seeing this excites you, if you're someone who like you get excited seeing what the Lego version of a watcher looks like, this could be for you. But if like some of these things we're naming aren't that interesting to you, you're probably not really going to enjoy the game like that. But yeah, I'm having a really good time, excited to finish it, excited to get the platinum. Like it's just a good basic time. Sometimes you need that.
Unfortunately, we don't both get the platinum. Yes. We're not both popping trophies, which is very unfortunate.
I don't know what's with that in the PlayStation system. I don't understand. What's the point of logging you in as you if you're not getting the trophies?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but I wish I got the trophies too because now I'm gonna feel like I need to play it again. Are we gonna have to replay it? You know what? Yeah. If you want, I'll go between the two. We gave like 90 hours to Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. That is true.
So we can give like a cool 5 to 15 to like our Resident Adventures.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's a good time. And that brings us to our not game section, which we are going to start off with. We went to the Clippers game last Saturday. Yeah. And we went to their new stadium, which is the Intuit Dome. What are some top level thoughts? It's also our first Clippers game ever. First basketball game in LA.
My first basketball
game of your life?
My first NBA game in person.
I feel like it might actually be mine too, because I feel like I must have seen the Bulls at some point, but I don't know that I did.
Yeah.
I don't know that I did.
Buffalo hasn't had an NBA team in a long time. And then I never went to one when I was in SF. Like I never went to like a Warriors game or anything. That would have been cool. But yeah, no, I've seen like obviously, live basketball games, like, at the college level and even like the Globetrotters and stuff, they do their like kind of like cross country tours. That's not quite the same.
When they were keeping you off the streets, you got to see the Globetrotter.
yeah, not quite the same though.
Say no to drugs, kids. Do.
It was cool though. It was cool. So I don't know if we want to start with the dome or start with the game.
Start with I guess like the whole experience. So let's start when we got like the tickets or whatever. So what were our tickets were like 300 level, I think, right?
Yeah, 300 level.
We're definitely up there. So like basically I went with we went with my brother and my dad. It was my dad's birthday. My dad requested this as his birthday activity. And I said, sure, Dad, you put some thought into it and responded. So we can do it. Whatever you want within financial reason. And then I was like, some of these tickets are expensive. I was like, okay. So I like basically just went capped at like, I'm like, there's no way I want to spend freaking $400 on everyone. I'm like, let's put the cap at like 100 for sure, like per ticket, and see how low we can get. And I was able to land some for I think like $60 a piece, which is pretty decent for like a sporting event generally, but it wasn't like cheap. We also got them like pretty late, like a few days before the game. And I'm not gonna lie, I looked just for funsies. I will say that inner bowl area they have, I'm like, wow, that's like really nice views. You're like really close.
Probably is, yeah.
And I was like, I can't do that for 4 people. That's too much. Like, let's just do it. Let's just go up top. And, they say there's no bad view in the dome, and we're going to find out because we're going to be up there. So yeah, we were like in the 300 level, I think, or whatever. Yeah. And then the seating was generally nice because the rows aren't that long. Like the thing I hate at sporting events is like,
you gotta like scoot by like 80 people to get to your seat.
Yeah, like the getting up, getting down is like annoying. So I thought that was like really cool.
I think they were only like 10 or 12 like length rows.
Yeah,
so it's not crazy.
They're really reasonable. So that was cool. But that also started my odyssey with the Intuit Dome app. So you have to. I believe that's kind of the only way to get the tickets.
This is so insane. This is the most insane thing I've heard in like the modern era. Like I thought Ticketmaster was terrible, and they are terrible. But I thought Ticketmaster was like the pinnacle, the peak of like bad venue access experience. And no, the Intuit Dome somehow tops it, where for every person, you bought these tickets, right? Mm-hmm. Janet, you logged into your account under your profile.
Which I do get the tickets through Ticketmaster, to be clear. But then it goes to like...
It's somehow, they were like, whoa,
it
this
like links over
enough.
To the app. But you were saying something I want to...
So like Ticketmaster facilitates like kind of the underlying ticketing system, I'm guessing. But the Intuit Dome put their own flavor on top of it. You know, it's like Android, where it's like, oh, Google comes with the basic Android, but then if you have a Samsung phone, you're gonna get that little Samsung flavor on top of Android on top of that. So this is Intuit Dome's situation. You bought these tickets. You bought 4 tickets under your account. Mm-hmm. They were on your phone, ready to go.
Yeah. Also to lightly clarify, I believe there's not like 300 level in the Intuit Dome. There's like terrace. I think we were at like terrace 23, like the upper area, like the highest
level,
the highest generally areas you could be at. Yeah. And then I just was trying to get a sort of like as close to the center sideline of the court was sort of my goal. I was gonna pull up the actual tickets I got to be like, hey, this is where we sat, but I have trouble doing that too. You're supposed to, from the app, when you hit tickets, it should show like upcoming and past. But when I hit pass, it says that I haven't purchased any tickets yet. I definitely purchased tickets. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
This all kind of feeds into... So you have to use the app. Like, you need the Intuit Dome app to access the venue, essentially, like, and have, like, the tickets and everything. So, and then also, before I went, I was told and had heard about the Intuit Dome being, like, very much a, like, smart stadium, if you want to call it that. It's like, okay, everything's going to be just, like... It's all just phone tap. They're gonna scan your eye, like all this crazy stuff. Like they have like I don't know if I'd call it a partnership, but they use like Clear technology, like the company Clear, which is like a privatized kind of version of we have like TSA Pre. That's kind of like, I believe the government like kind of runs that. I think, I don't know. And then there's like Clear, which is like somebody else kind of came in and did something similar to just have like a different option, whatever, right? So Clear does that. You might be familiar with Clear as well through like LinkedIn. LinkedIn has like, you can be verified on LinkedIn as like, that's for sure you through using Clear, which I tried to do, but it didn't work, which brings me back to the Intuit Dome. So the number one thing that was really weird after setting everything up, and I just decided, at this point in society, take whatever you need from me. I just don't even care anymore. I'm like, take my face, take my thumbprint, I gotta turn my head and cough, whatever. Like,
oh my God.
Take whatever you want. So I gave them whatever. I uploaded my picture. I did all this stuff. It took forever. I felt like signing up for this app and getting involved in this app made me feel like, oh my God, this is how you become an old, bitter, out of touch person yelling at the street. Because I was like, why do you have to do all this to get tickets? And I just felt like I was becoming old in real time, which was not a great feeling, but it was what it is. But the number one thing that really... I thought was really strange, and that really threw my whole family through a loop.
I still don't believe it. Like, I know I lived it, and I still can't believe it.
Okay, Isaiah, what is the...
Not only do you as Janet have to like make an account and set up and buy the tickets and blah, 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 but then everyone who you want to attend with you has to also download the app, sign up, make an account, and then you have to send them their tickets. Like it's not like you go to AMC Theater and you bought 2-3 tickets, whatever. You just show the guy before the concession stand, hey, here's my 3 tickets, swipe, 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 cool, scan, scan, scan. All 3 people go in. No, this is each person has to have their own digital ticket on their own device under their own account, even if one person paid for them. And the only, I guess, exception seemingly to the rule is if you are with a minor, in which case you then have to go to like their guest services and the minor gets like a wristband that is tied to the Guardian's account kind of thing. It is so bizarre.
And not
I've
even like any
never
minor either.
seen
I do believe it's
anything
like
like
13
this.
and under or something. So not even like any kid. It's like a younger kid. It's like geared towards like that younger kid range, like middle school and down. You're
Wild.
16. You got to download the app like everybody else. Yeah, it just seemed really like strange. And I could live with that to a degree if I think the rest of the stadium had followed suit. Because, and by that I mean, there was this big talk leading up to like, the Intuit Dome opening. And the Intuit Dome is very new. Like it opened, I think, this year, like not even that long ago. And I remember seeing on TikTok people like going to the first event ever at the Intuit Dome at the grand opening. This dome, this stadium is supposed to be, again, fully smart tech, automated, whatever. No workers is like what they're aiming for. Like you're just gonna, well, you don't need any, everyone needs to have it on their phone because like it's so like high tech automated that, whatever. And I can live with that because that does kind of make sense, right? Even if you don't like that kind of stuff, it's like, well, at least, okay, I just walk through and they know I'm me because they like scanned my eyeball or whatever, right? But there's plenty of workers everywhere. Like at the ticket spot that we went to, there was like a worker there.
Yeah.
And of course, I had to like, gotta ask, hey, is this fine? Because, I don't know, I think my dad wasn't like the right spot of the app. And I'm like, is it fine? Can you like tap whatever? And the process of tapping was fine and going through. Other critiques of the Intuit Dome of like, we're kind of going in chronological order, like walking into it, like there were like two lines. Like one was like if you did Game Face ID and one was if you didn't. And like I had done it, but my brother hadn't done it. So we just went to like the same one. And then I also was kind of like Game Face ID. Is that like when I scan my face? Is that just my profile? Like it's just like there's like a little bit of clunk. And I think also having to wait in line for a game. I've never gone through a line for a game really, unless the stadium hasn't opened yet. Like when we were waiting for the Galaxy, it's like we're in line because it hasn't opened. But like, usually you can kind of just walk in. I get concerts might be different because like a concert is kind of different, but usually for sports, it's you kind of just walk in.
The place is big enough. There's enough entrances and openings that you can just
like
walk
if you're in
somewhere.
line, you're in line for like bag check, very short, like very short because. The way the Intuit Dome works is there's like a security part that you walk into, and then there's also the stadium that you walk into. And that second one had a bit of a line. Nothing crazy, like literally like maybe less than 5 minutes, but just the fact that it had that spoke to, okay, they have not really figured out how to make this.
Still a little grinding here. You need to like oil up and smoothen out the system a little bit. Yeah.
Some things I thought were cool in that early entrance part too is that they have a little court.
Yeah,
you can shoot
cool.
around at.
That's cool.
That's cute. But only one ball everyone shares.
Yeah. It's like it's like a little like open basketball court kind of thing.
There's like two hoops.
It's two
Which
hoops.
they need more hoops also. Why aren't there more hoops?
Because
Maybe they don't want people
they probably want you just getting in and like, that's there for the cool Instagram photo kind of stuff. It's not there because they actually want people there playing ball. They want people there to take a photo, say how cool the Intuit Dome is, and then get to your seat and sit down and watch the event.
I lightly disagree because the photo op is not very good. It's not like very Instagram.
I don't know that big like electric like e-wall on the next to it and everything.
I think it's there to be like a cute little thing. It does seem like they have a family friendly
that's fair
vibe to them, which I thought was really nice. They have a bunch of like hoops too, like stacked on top of each other. And that's a little Instagram-y, like that like big cluster of hoops.
Oh, yeah.
And that looks cool. I also like that they had on that big what do you call it? Not projector, screen. Like when the game is closed, they're like game starting soon.
Find your seat.
Because we came in like a little bit late. So I was like, okay, take it from here. So we're in the dome. Walk me through the next chunk of the experience. We'll kind of go back and forth on everything that happened.
We go through these lines. We scan our face and eyeballs, and some people just didn't. They show their ID, whatever they get through. And once you're in the like actual arena, it's actually a very nice arena. Like everything is new. It's shiny. Apparently they have like, I don't know, more bathrooms per square feet than like any other stadium in existence or something like that. Which is kind of fair because everywhere I looked, I saw a bathroom and there was never any like real line to like use the bathroom. At least I found in the men's room. You're walking around, they have like little snack stands and this and that, and like arrows pointing you like how to get to your section or your row or your seat or whatever. Right. But like, kind of like you mentioned, the promise was that this was going to be in like a smart stadium, smart venue. There's no people around, and everywhere you looked, you saw employees. There were employees guiding people. There were employees scanning people in. There were employees at the concessions. There were employees helping you find your seat. Like, there's employees everywhere. And it's not that I expected different. It's that I had hoped that, this is going to be like a cool, like I wanted to walk in and feel like I was at like a Disney kind of thing.
Yeah, where they're like magical. Everyone's in the background or whatever.
It was not magical. It was very nice, but it wasn't magic.
Which also, to be clear, and I think, let me know if I'm speaking for you incorrectly, I feel like there's nothing about these me and Isaiah's perspective that's like, my dream for the future is that I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't care either way. Sometimes I think there's convenient, like I like self-checkout, but again, even self-checkout, it doesn't work that great. So we need someone there. And and that's sort of my beef. And I think your beef as well with some of the push for automation for things like wouldn't it be nice? Right. Mm-hmm. But it's not. Yeah, so it's, and I think that's the thing, like seeing where I'm like, so they're not where they want to be. It's like kind of what they sold, they haven't yet to fully deliver on. I think another thing to shout out with the interior too is it's very much like, we're in LA obviously. It's like an indoor outdoor vibe for parts of the stadium, which I think is really nice. Like it has almost really like that SoFi. Like SoFi also has a lot of indoor outdoor vibe. I guess even the Galaxy Stadium. Like a lot of the stadiums have open air, kind of facility, and this felt like this that.
Almost even more because like presumably this is also where like the Clippers like the company works. Like as you were going up to the terrace, you're like riding escalators up. If you look over to like your right side while going up, you can see like offices.
See, if we had better seats, we wouldn't have seen
practice
that. So.
Exclusive content for the brokies. You can see like offices. You see like more additional like basketball courts where presumably players practice and things like that. And it's like, okay, cool. Like that's probably where the social media marketing team sits, or like that's where the big wigs sit and the directors and this, that, and the third. And it's like, okay, this is cool, but like it wasn't officey either. Like I don't know, it didn't feel like an arena, but it also didn't feel like an office. It felt like you were in a mall and there was like a huge like a roller coaster or something in the middle of the mall, but there were still like shops and stuff all around it. I don't know, maybe like it's like Mall of America. Yeah, like I haven't been to Mall of America.
So cool. Mall of America's way cooler in the Intuit Dome, I think.
But like it gave me that sense of like, there's fun here, but then there's also business. And it's weird if I was to see someone doing business things while I'm here having fun. Yeah. Like if I looked over and saw someone posting to the Clippers.
The offices were empty too, so it was just kind of. It's like I don't know. It was different.
Yes. Whereas like normally I go to the Galaxy game or the SoFi Stadium or something like that. It's just an arena. There's no sense of a business here outside of like the team is here and they're playing. You know what I mean? They keep all that hidden away outside of like the viewer's eye kind of thing. So it was cool. It was weird, but it was cool. I do like the kind of, you mentioned like the indoor outdoor kind of thing where it's like, and that I guess maybe also led to like why it felt weird, because it's like, so like if I worked here and I wanted fresh air, I would just walk outside of my office into this like lobby and get like fresh air from the indoor outdoor arena area kind of. It was, I don't know. It was very strange. I wish we had take some like photos or videos. I'm sure people have plenty of stuff out there. Yeah. Definitely like look it up. It's different.
I think that car sitting in the middle of the stadium also made it feel like a mall, I guess.
Also,
it was like Toyota or something.
Yeah. They have like I don't know if a partnership with Toyota or
it's
what.
like, how like when you're in the mall and you ever see like a car in the mall, it was like that. But like in the middle of like
of the lobby.
Not the it was like, so there was almost like an open air campus. It had like we got inside and then Isaiah's the big navigator of the group, so I was just following Isaiah. Like Isaiah like left and we're like, where's he going? Oh, we don't know. And then he went up an escalator, and when you were passing that, there was like a car. I'm like, that's kind of cool. I don't know. Some fun lights and like lighting in the area too. Like to kind of, I guess, give the indoor outdoor pseudo mall office structure like a vibe. Let's see. So yeah, got to our seats. The gate. We'll talk maybe a little bit about the game itself, and then we can go about the concessions we had at halftime. But with the game itself, because we're so high up. I think this happens to you as well if you're down below. I think like I've heard people have this like not complaint but like commentary of the Clippers Stadium, the Intuit Dome has this big wraparound screen called the Halo board. $2 billion screen.
That's insane.
Huge screen.
It's very
nice.
nice.
It was really hard not to just watch the screen.
Yeah.
And like the whole point of being live is like you can see the game. And like even though we were really high up, I thought the view of the game was actually pretty nice. Yeah. Which is really great because I've definitely been at stadiums where like, bro, it's like you're not even there. Or like when you're really high up. So I think there really aren't bad seats in the Intuit Dome, it seems, which is cool. I think it's gonna be really fun for, I know some people were doing some concerts and stuff there. It's very much like designed for the sport. But yeah, the Halo board is huge. It looks great, but it is kind of distractingly good. Yeah. Because especially when you're high up, all it's you kind of see, in front of you. Like when you look straight out, you see the Halo board, and it has a lot of also key information that you might look at it anyway. So it's just like, I have to kind of like look down and just sort of block. Okay, let's not look at the Halo board.
I definitely like trained my eyes to ignore the Halo board so I could focus on like watching the game live. And like, did they do cool stuff on the Halo board? Like you said, like when someone would score, they'd like feature that player. They come out and do like the almost like what Japanese style billboards where it like almost is like 3D where they're like reaching out or like fist bumping the crowd or something like that.
Which I'm a sucker for that. I think it's so cool.
It was cool.
When the game started, they had them, I guess they also went through like not a rebrand, but I know they got like a new like logo and other stuff recently. So like they're really leaning into the waves and the water aspects of the Clippers, which like a Clipper is apparently like an old military ship, I think is what we learned. So like when the game started, it's like all the players like they like came out of the water and it like looked really cool. I don't know. It's like it's hard to explain, but it was it was like very dramatic and extra. I think something else worth noting about the viewing experience is it wasn't quite very like it wasn't empty, but it wasn't really like full. And I don't think it ever really got there.
But I think they taking the whole like kind of smart venue into the seating area, the chairs are like, I don't know, smart chairs, right? Where like there's lights and stuff on your seat, like on your armrest and stuff. So like even if
I love that.
arena wasn't like full, when you look out, you still see a bunch of like flashing lights in every seat, which makes it almost like appear more full than it is. Yeah. Which I thought was very cool. They also have like USB-C charging ports at every seat, which Edwin, your brother, tried, and it worked for like the first half, but maybe not the second half.
Like the fourth quarter, he's like, it's not charging anymore, and we're not sure if they just like turned them all off or if they got weird. You do need your own cable though. It's like it's a
yes, it is just a
MagSafe pad or something. That would have been lit.
That would have been sweet. But it's like airplane seat where it's like, here's a port, here's something you could plug in if you brought your charger kind of thing.
And the other thing that you kind of had mentioned was them having like the directional buttons for you like voting for the games.
Yeah, they have like fun. You know how like most you go to a baseball game, they have the Dodger dog cart kind of like race or this, that, and the third. This one they have like a similar thing where it's like a dance off, I think it was, and like after the people are done dancing and it's time to vote, you have this like almost like Xbox style face button pad on your seat, like your armrest that you can like click. The top is like red, the left is green, yellow, blue, whatever. You could like vote for who you think danced the best, and they take that into account. Apparently, there's also a microphone in the armrest, which like when they like try to
your
get
dad at AT&T.
Yeah, facts. They try to like another fun thing they do is like, oh, who's the loudest section? We're gonna give you an extra prize or something like that.
Yeah.
And so you're supposed to like scream, and the microphones are supposed to like pick up who is the literal loudest section. And they show like
the decibels on the Halo board of like, oh, how loud is it? You think they just write in the number?
Yeah, no.
Come on, Isaiah. This is like our beef over the bracelets and the dolphins that we have. Which I don't want to go too far off topic. We bought these bracelets at the Atlanta Aquarium, I think it was.
The Atlanta Aquarium, yeah.
And they were like fairly expensive bracelets, like at least like $15 or something. They're like little beads.
When was the last time you looked up your dolphin?
It's been a while. I honestly could not tell you the name of the app. If you said I'll give you $500 to tell you the name of the app, you keeping that $500. I haven't looked them up in a while. I don't even know what the app is called. But basically, the bracelet alleged that like, with each bracelet you get like a animal that you can try, like a dolphin or something was ours.
Dolphin, turtle, whale,
and
something.
And yeah, like you can like see where they are. And Isaiah's like, they're just putting random parts on the ocean. And I'm like, nah, I think it's called the Fallow app. I was never gonna remember that. I'm re-downloading it now, so I will get back to you with where my dolphin is. Yeah, Isaiah just thinks they're putting stuff on the map, or that they threw an air tag in the sea.
Yes. They're just letting his air tag float around the ocean.
No, and I get I get like I don't like own that dolphin or something. Like other people get the same dolphin. New animal content just dropped on the app apparently. Anyway, I'll get back to this towards the end of our segment so that we don't spend too much time talking about the dolphin. But you know, similarly, let me know in the comments. Are you a believer or are you an Isaiah? Because Isaiah's always like, bro, they're fucking lying.
It's all gimmicks.
To you.
All these things are just gimmicks. Now it's fine to like lean into the gimmick and go with the gimmick.
So my animal tracker is no longer sending signals. But they said, don't worry. They didn't get travel insurance before setting off on their journey and likely lost their tracker along the way. Redeem your new animal now and start tracking right away. So they do let me redeem a new animal. My animal before was called John. And he was some type of dolphin. But now
the dolphin's dead.
They gave me...
You're telling me.
Now they gave me Wilbur, who is... I forgot what kind of animal this is. It's like, you know what I mean?
It's like a beluga?
Yeah, he looks kind of beluga-y,
like
but...
black beluga, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We don't really know what
Usually
animals
like
are
white
on the
beluga.
show, to be honest. But anyway, the proceeds go, allegedly, to part of the marine conservation. I thought it would be nice. You know, we can both get these animals and stuff, and I thought it would be fun. You can see where they're at. But Isaiah, you know... doesn't believe.
I am not a believer. I think these things are all gimmicks, and that's fine. I'm fine with
you
being a
bought the
gimmick.
bracelet, so
I bought the
I'm not
bracelet
mad.
because the bracelet looked cool. I did not get the bracelet because I thought I was gonna be able to track my friend.
And then, like,
Jonathan
when me
through
and
the
Isaiah wear the
seas.
bracelets together, we can like go ding, and then our dolphins are high fiving and stuff.
So yeah.
So you think they're just putting up a number?
I think they're just putting up decibels, maybe based on like ticket sales or something. It's predetermined who won before this whole make some noise thing starts in my head. There's no way. Maybe there's like the slightest influence, but it's not really measuring decibels. No.
I mean, your watch measures decibels. It's not that hard to measure, I don't think.
No, it's not. It's not hard, but why would you do it? It just doesn't make any sense.
Because you had the mics in there. You think the mic is just not even in there? They just drew a speaker on the thing.
One of the cool things, which I was disappointed because we didn't get anything, is that they also have the t-shirt cannons like kind of mounted on top of the Halo board.
Yeah.
Halo board.
The Halo.
And so like when it comes time to like shoot t-shirts out into the crowd and stuff, they have, you know, people down below presumably with like in-hand t-shirt cannons, kind of like, you know, throwing them and shooting them into the crowd. But then also front, like if you're in higher up like we are, you still have a chance of getting a shirt.
They got shirts for the brokies
because,
up there.
Yeah,
so.
they shoot shirts out from the Halo board, which is pretty cool. So
I do think that's really cool because one of the worst things about not being in like better seats is like
you feel like
you just feel like they don't give a fuck about you up there. You could die. They do not give a fuck. But now it's like, oh, I feel like you thought of me. Like, and that's nice. So halftime hits, we get up and get concessions. This is really where you take charge of the day here.
Yeah. So
it's just a three. Like we let my dad just stay seated. I mean, he could come if he wanted to, but I'm like, hey, do you want us to just get you something, or do you want, you know, to sit? He's like, oh, you can just get me a popcorn and a soda. Is what he requested. So we went off.
We get up, and again, before we even got to the thing, there's like you make the Intuit Dome account, you set up, you scan your face, your eyeball, you can put in your credit card and do all that stuff, so that when you're there, it's like a cashless venue, right? Like if you want something, you are paying with either your face or apparently just your credit card, because some elements are not quite up to speed yet.
We'll start with the first one.
Yeah,
but the credit card thing that surprised me.
Yeah. So
what's going on?
The first thing we did was go to like the concession stand kind of like station, right? It's like a room. It's almost like a mini Amazon Fresh kind of store in the venue where you scan your phone or whatever to go in. You pick up whatever concessions you want, just like kind of like off the wall, off the shelves, and then you can just walk out. If you do get alcohol, they do have to like open the alcohol can. So there's someone at the exit to open alcohol cans before you leave, because you can't just walk out with a closed alcohol can.
Not to blow up the random guy's spot. He just said you have to open it. He didn't open it.
That's true. He let us open. He was like, hey, you just can't walk out with it closed. And I was like, all right. Okay.
We got like one beer.
You know, we grabbed our snacks and everything like that. But it's weird because I scanned in. I had set up my account, my app, to have like my card on file and everything like that. And then, but Janet and Edwin were also with me. And I asked another worker who was like at the entrance, like, hey, if I scan in, can they come in with me and like get snacks and stuff? And they're like, yeah, fine. Just make sure you're the one who's like picking up the food.
And also that you are the only one supposed to scan in.
Yes.
As well, which was like also a little like, okay.
A little strange, yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just was thrown, the whole thing through a loop.
It was weird. Again, it's very, you know, almost like Amazon Freshie, where you walk in, you pick up stuff and then you walk out. And I am 99.9% sure at this point that it is like Amazon Fresh, where like you're not actually, they're not sensing anything. It's not like a smart system tracking you and carrying what you pick up. No, there's some team of people somewhere that they are paying to just monitor the videos and then retroactively charge your account once, a days later, which is a whole nother situation. But the act of going in, they had a variety of food. They had like, different chicken tender and fries kind of things. They had a bunch of different beers. You can get, some nachos. You can get churros. You can get a whole bunch of different stuff, which honestly, and the food was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But they have a good variety of food in an Amazon Fresh like kind of package.
And I would say like decent pricing compared to some other stadiums. We spend most of our time at the I'm at Dignity Health.
Yeah.
For the LA Galaxy, and bro, Dignity Health charges up the ass.
It's insane.
There was was it $18? I think for the Modelo. There was a tall boy of Modelo that I considered getting, and I saw it was $19. And I was like, I'll take the $6 water instead, because sometimes obviously time changes price or whatever. There have been times because like they overcharge for like water and soda, where it's like, a beer is only like $2 more, like a shitty beer, a domestic, whatever, even though I guess it's not really domestic because America, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Bud Light was not much cheaper than the Modelo anyway, but I'm like, $19, like that's insane.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm still gonna get it sometimes, but I'm like, definitely not all the time. So I do think the pricing was like a lot better than at least like Dignity. I can't speak for crypto because I haven't really been there. So like decent prices, like the popcorn you got was like,
it was like $8.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And it was like a sizable bag.
Sizable. All the portions were solid.
Yeah.
The food tastes actually pretty good.
Yeah, what did you get again?
I got just like chicken tenders and french fries. I think Edwin got like the Korean barbecue.
Yeah, so they had like more of that sticky barbecue kind of taste. I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah.
I got the nachos. Pretty good as well. I hate that they were like the colored chip nachos. Those weird me out.
I like those. Those are fun.
One thing that was super cute was the box that I got them in. You open it up and they put the two nacho cheeses and they put them into like a little hoop.
Yeah.
So on each side, it's like a quart. You're like eating off of the fake quart.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cute. I'm like, that's nice. Talk about your cup that you got.
Yeah. And then they have fountain drinks. So I feel like most venues that we've gone to, at least, like again, Dignity Health is kind of the one that we know the most. When you go there and you want like a pop or something, you ask for a pop, they fill it behind the counter, and then they hand you the cup with like a lid, and you grab a straw, and then you walk away, right? This one, instead, you just buy the cup, and then there's like almost like, free use fountains outside, almost like a movie theater, where it's like, like they give you the cup, and then you choose what pop you want, you fill it up, you add your ice, blah, 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 and then you can go back to your seat. And I'm not sure if it's like, can I bring this cup back now? Like I bought like a pretty nice, honestly, Intuit Dome like soda pop cup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you do, are you supposed to bring this back? Then you just get free drinks now? Am I supposed to buy a $10 cup every time I come here? But the cup is like really sturdy, so I have actually no idea.
I told them let's bring that cup back in.
Yeah, try and bring it back.
And they don't have any like messaging on the thing either.
No,
like,
there's no information.
They don't advertise that there's free
it.
Refills. They don't say bring the cup back. They don't say you can't bring they don't say anything. They're just like, it's a cup. There also is cans of pop too that you can get from that same area. But yeah, I thought that was pretty sweet. Whether or not, again, how reusable is it legally? I don't know. But just the fact that like, you could get like a soda and then fill it up again. That seems like super convenient. Oh, and I thought it seems silly to go like so in depth on this, but I thought the cup too was really well designed. Like the lid, it has like a snap enclosure on the top.
For
like the what do you call it? The spout.
Hole?
Yeah, with the mouth hole drink, whatever. Yeah, the spout. And it's one of those ones where almost like a thermos where you can like you flip it open and it snaps where permanently kind of open on the other side. Hopefully I described that correctly or like well enough for you guys to envision it, which is really nice because you can just like leave it in there, have it already opened, you can snap it closed. Like it was very sturdy and secure, very easy to put the lid on.
Yeah.
Putting the lid on stuff is so hard.
This is one of the best. Like this would be like a $30 cup at a Disney amusement park. Like the quality of this cup.
Yeah, the Intuit Dome cups go crazy. Like other things to highlight, I think, would be the act of you getting the popcorn was weird.
Yeah, so they they also had sort of like alcohol stands and a popcorn stand outside of the Amazon Fresh sort of store.
Yeah, the fake Amazon
and
Fresh.
You get in line separately, and we got in line because, you know, her dad wanted the popcorn. We got him a pop, and we just needed to get the popcorn. But when we get to the like checkout for the popcorn, there is no app face eyeball scan thing. It's just like, oh, hey, you got to pay with a card.
Yeah, there's no tap.
There's no tap even. Yeah, like you need to like have a physical card, or at least the lady that at the register that we were at, I don't know if it was like a technical issue or what, but they're like, no, you need a physical card that we got to swipe, or you can tap your card maybe, but like the app is useless here at the stand.
Yeah, which I thought was crazy because like when you tap, like the app is basically just kind of a fancy tap, or it's like their tap. So I thought it was really, really weird. I will say as a compliment towards the idea, even though again, there's many issues besides the functionality of it. Not really sure what the, financial ethics are of the way they do like the overseas work for that stuff. Like, not gonna lie, I would be surprised if those people are getting paid a good wage. Not impossible, but because especially I think too, a lot of times when we talk about overseas work, there is still like that as Americans, like that stigma of like the labor practices overseas are like crazy. But some of them actually have, sadly, better practices than what we have in the US. So I'm not saying that it's bad to like outsource labor. I feel like so much of like are trying to push into like this more futuristic, like seamless stuff. It's really, you have a lot of seams, but you're like hiding them. And then it doesn't work nearly as well as they try to act like it's going to work. And I think it opens up to a lot of problems. So that's really my critique of that. But I will say, putting that critique aside, the speed at which we were able to go into that little fake Amazon Fresh and get food, super convenient.
Yeah.
And a lot faster than like the popcorn was. Same with the soda. Like it was very easy. It was overall, and I think it's also maybe just like the way they designed the stadium, because like let's be real, for the Galaxy, like we probably have like better seats than what we had at like the Intuit Dome, but also the Galaxy Stadium is just designed differently. It doesn't go up that high. There's not even stuff that high up. But I just feel like the speed from leaving my seat to finding a concession stand, and I think part of that is also like they don't have as much food diversity as Dignity Health has. Like Dignity Health has like they have a car that just sells cookies, like, you know,
fresh baked cookies,
which the cookies are really good, but they sell you like a million of them. They're like, I'm not even joking. They're like the minimum that you can buy, I think, is 16 or something. Like that, and they're like regular sized cookies.
Yes, these aren't mini cookies.
It
is like
I had to eat like six cookies. Which if you're a family, that could be fine. We're not a family, so it's a lot of cookies to eat. But it was really quick. The point is to get out of the seat, get our snacks, and come back.
Which I think is what they want.
Yes.
You know?
Which also, we didn't mention, they don't have any like screens showing the game outside of the
Halo board.
The area. Yeah, the Halo board and the actual like being in your seat. So you have to be in your seat to see the game.
Yeah.
Which is unlike any other stadium. But I do think, based on our experience, they were able to pull that off where it didn't feel like, man, I'm waiting in line so long to whatever. Like, I do think they are successful at that part. The concessions felt generally pretty speedy.
Not only were they speedy, but they were also very close. Like, you walk up from the stairs where you sat at.
There's hot dogs and bathrooms everywhere.
Right across from you. Like, there's not like you got to go around the wall or you got to go this way down the hall. No, like you leave the seating area and you are immediately in front of a concession stand that you can walk in. And if you're not immediately in front of it, it's like 20 feet to the right or left. Like it's pretty consistent, pretty easy to get in and out, which is great.
I will say, I think there was pricing. Was there pricing on the food?
There was like a price. There's when you're in the Amazon Fresh, there's like, you know, like the foods have labels with their prices on it. And then even before you go in through like the eyeball scan, you can like see a digital menu with like general prices and stuff that kind of like rotates between all the items in there. So you can see the pricing before you go in. You don't have to like get in, see that everything's either expensive or whatever, and then like get out. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was nice. I honestly,
also they don't actually scan your eyeball. I keep mentioning that just so people know. But I do think that's kind of where they want to go. Like they want like to go towards like almost like Disney Magic Band. Yeah. Something in an eyeball scan, but like they want that kind of thing. But like I don't know what bodies Disney has under that park to make that park run the way it does. But they have yet to, I think, capture that magic. Though I was digging around and I think they do have some type of band they also have going on.
You
But I
could
didn't
probably
look
get a physical band if you don't want
that much into it,
your phone on you kind of thing. I'm sure they do have that as an option. If they have it for like minors and stuff, then presumably you can also set it up just as an adult. If you're like, I want to leave my phone to charge or whatever, cool. But yeah, it's a great venue, very new, very fancy. It definitely still has some kinks to work through. It's not like fully smoothly operational, but it won't satisfy the promise they put out, but it can get still pretty good, I think. And the food, man, bring that food to Dignity Health and we'll be A-okay.
The food was pretty good. The last thing I want to ask about with the Intuit Dome experience is the parking is expensive as hell. What did you end up doing for parking?
Yeah,
what
apparently the parking at the Intuit Dome itself is like $70 a car, which to me is ridiculous.
Yeah. And then you have like a shuttle system from downtown, but like...
Yeah, I think there's like 4 pickup spots around
the end of the day,
LA
the parking
area.
is $70.
$70. I was like, no way. Instead, we use an app called Spot Hero. I don't know if it's... presumably it's like national, like you can use it anywhere and find some spots, but we found a parking garage for the casino that was like kind of across the street and down a little bit from the Intuit Dome, where parking I think was like $20 or something like that, 25 maybe. And I was like, you know what, that sounds a lot better. Pay for that parking and then just walk the 10-minute walk down the street to the Intuit Dome. Definitely recommend doing that. It's a little bit of a tight garage, so maybe you need to get in early. Maybe, if you pre-buy your parking pass or something like that, if you can. But definitely, I don't know, try it. Maybe try the shuttle. Maybe the shuttle's good. Apparently, like the parking lots that the shuttles pick up from generally have either very cheap or even free parking. So maybe you can get lucky there, being picked up from like, a UCLA lot or something like that could be nice. If you're a student, I think they go to campuses. If you're not a student, I think they still go to like general busy kind of like hubs throughout the LA area. Try that. Let us know what it's like. But if not, just open up Spot Hero and another app that you would need for this trip. Open up Spot Hero, see if you can find something nearby.
And if you don't, you probably should get Spot Hero because it's pretty.
Yeah, Spot Hero's great.
It's pretty good, but yeah.
So yeah.
And not quite sports, but related to physical health. We are back to exercising.
Yeah.
We've exercised for 1 week, and thus we are now an authority on exercise. But also, I'm like, we have to record this now in case we fall off immediately.
Yeah,
just to speak from our ledge of wisdom.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are you getting into?
Yeah, people always said all the time, once you hit 30, you gotta really start taking care of yourself. Your knees and your back and this and that. And I thought they were all lying. Turns out, no, they were right. You gotta take care of yourself. Keep running. I got back into running this week. Trying to really just like break down the bad habit wall that I had built during the pandemic. Because before the pandemic, I was running a little bit. We did some races here and there. Even during the pandemic, like some of the latter half of the pandemic. I mean, pandemic is it's not over, right? COVID still exists.
Yeah.
But like during the peak of it and everything like that.
Pre-vaccine.
Post-peak pandemic, there were even some races where, you maybe I wore a mask or, it's a smaller race or something like that. But then I don't know, something happened and time got away from us and I just stopped running altogether. I stopped being physically fit, period, basically. I stopped going to the gym, stopped running, stopped doing all these things. I'm trying to fix that. I'm 31 right now. I'm not going to say 32. I think 32 is a bit of a stretch, but I want 33 to be the healthiest me I could be, like in my adult life. That sounds
really nice.
I would love to hit that goal. Who knows what life is going to be like then. Maybe we, I don't know, are making our own goals, right? We got a wedding, family, who knows what happens. But I would love for 33 to be the best me. That'd be cool. And I'm going to slowly start trying to work towards it now by breaking these bad habits I have. Sleeping better, eating better, working out, moving and grooving. It's a challenge.
What would it take for you to be the best you? Like, what does that look like? Because that way we know when we got there.
I think it's really the trifecta, right? I think one is just general health stats, right? Get my weight down. Right now I'm not severely overweight, but I'm overweight, right? I think I'm probably around like 260, somewhere around there. I'd murder to get back to like high school weight of like that 200, if I can lose 50, 40 pounds even, I take that as a huge win. Bulk up a little bit more because I'm sure I've lost some muscle mass and in time since I stopped lifting. But basically just like cut down some weight, build a little bit more of my stamina back up, right? Being able to run for longer distances and play sports more and do stuff like that. That's one. Two, I think, is general sort of like physical milestones. So like flexibility is a big one for me that I'm trying to up. General soreness and stuff, right? Like it's a joke in the house all the time how it's like, oh man, can you help me like crack my back? Or like, oh man, can you pull my leg? My knee feel like it needs to pop or something like that. Like being just at a good place.
That's really just me though. I feel like maybe just.
I just do it myself. I just don't ask for your help.
Yeah, why? Let me help you.
I crack my knees and back and stuff all the time. I'm trying to be more flexible. I want to have a goal of being able to sit cross-legged in like a chair or something. Yeah, like this. How Jen is doing on the video version. I can't do that. I can kind of start to sit cross-legged.
It's that like your knees go really high.
Yeah, my knees are still like a little higher than I would like. I want to be able to, oh man, if I got a flat knee, sit cross-legged, that'd be insane. So yeah, just generally be able to do that. Stretch more, right? Pull-ups and sit-ups and being able to like, lift my body weight and stuff like that. All great. And then thirdly, the like outside of me physical traits that I want to get, or not physical traits, but like physical things that I want to get better at, right? So like eating better, making sure my diet is like more balanced and not just filled with tasty snacks all the time, making sure I'm getting good hours of sleep every night, setting myself up for the success physically by, making sure that my workout clothes are set aside the night before if I'm going to wake up and try to do something, if we're going to the gym or something like that. Making sure that there's healthy snacks in the kitchen as opposed to like sugary or salty snacks that are bad for you.
My garbage drawer.
Yeah. Just, like doing these little things that in and of itself will not make a drastic change overnight, but I think through consistent practice will eventually yield some good gains.
Nice.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I think one thing that we're sort of tag teaming on for that, besides I guess sleep to a degree, because we mostly sleep at the same time.
Yeah.
But the which I still need to do it's been like it's my third week trying to get this done. We want to come up with more like veggie oriented recipes, but not necessarily vegetarian recipes, just stuff that feels like it's incorporating more vegetables. And I know some people would just say, oh, just throw stuff on the side. But like there are a lot of things that we like to make that just don't facilitate stuff on the side. Like the mac and cheese that we make has broccoli in it, but it's not like a veggie recipe. And it's like, what am I going to throw an apple next to that and pretend like I'm eating good? Like, you know what I mean? And obviously this is all like kind of relative and in moderation. Like I don't think we're not big on the labels of like good food, bad food. So I think I like that our attitude is more of introducing more healthy stuff, not like getting rid of what we have, which is like just regular meals. But yeah, for me, I want to build my strength more. So I think a lot of people that follow me online already know that I am a long distance runner. That is my main form of exercise, my main sport, my main like thing that sort of it kind of has kept me alive, really, is a thing. Because it's like, okay, no matter what, like I've been running pretty consistently since like my junior year of college. And I first started doing running at all in any degree when I was like 10 or something. So like it took me a while to get really consistent with it. Like I would fall on and off, but like that was always something that I would go back to. Like, which is funny because like my fall off was like falling back into run. So it's like, it's kind of nice to have like like sometimes I run, sometimes I don't, whatever. But I would run for quite a bit. And I did my 30 for 30 goal during my 20s where I wanted to run 30 races. Thank you. Yay. I know. I wish we were doing the show at the time. I could have hung up all of them.
Yeah,
we can still do that, but like, maybe a different time we'll do something with that. But yeah, so I did that. I ran a marathon in that time, my first marathon, LA Marathon, did that. What year was that? 2022. March 2022, we did that. You and I had a lot of fun. We did our staycation afterwards. I got a really expensive, really nice massage. We did the weirdo float tank that you like to do.
I love float tanks.
And I was like, this isn't really for me, but I'm glad we had something to do together. Yeah, good times. That was like in preparation of turning 30. And then when I turned 30, I was like, I kind of want to take a second from running because I ran a lot. And I wanted to use that time to get really into the gym. And I wasn't really successful in that endeavor, I would say. I think I definitely started going back to the gym. Like, the gym has been part of my life here and there. Like, back in the day in Chicago, I had an Export Fitness membership, and I had an era where I was going there really consistently with my family. And then, like, that kind of fell off at some point. And I moved, whatever. And it had been actually quite a long time since I had a gym membership. Again, in large part because I just mostly run. But I think if you're more into the sport of running and start to understand what running is, which I think for a lot of people, that's kind of a weird concept, because I think a lot of people that don't run just think like, well, you run, and then like, I don't know, some people are good at it and they like it and they're weird, and then some people are bad at it, and that's me. And that's like the attitude a lot of people have about running. But it really is like its own whole sport that you can lean into, and like that requires a lot of other stuff that people don't think about, like, a lot of strength training, mobility stuff, and like those have been my weaker links for the sport. Like, I haven't really done as much like lifting, or like I hate stretching. Like, I don't really stretch before my runs usually. I don't really stretch after. Like, those have been like weaknesses in my ability to run, and I've had plenty of like injuries throughout my running. I had T-band injuries. I had like a foot one sort of towards the end of my marathon training that definitely was concerning. Stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. No official tears, no breakages, no sprains, but I've had like pains here and there. So the TLDR is I'm like, okay, I really want to like get into the gym, and then also maybe explore like other, like skating more, but I really didn't skate that much this year. So it's like, it kind of just ended up being that classic thing where a lot of times I think in life we clear up our calendar and we're like, this is going to be great. I'll make it up like, oh, now that, I'm going to have Isaiah clean the bathrooms now. And with that extra time, I'm going to start reading. But then like, you don't really read. Like, a lot of times it's very hard to like free up time and use that time in a meaningful way. Like, I think it takes a lot of discipline, and it takes more than just freeing up the time. So when I freed up my time from running, I didn't like gain all this like drive to like do more. It's like, it wasn't as easy to translate that to other stuff. I think because like running was such a thing I had to like really put effort, especially when I did the marathon training. It's like I was waking up early. I would leave you so many mornings on Sunday. Me and my brother would go over to Santa Monica. We'd run for hours. I'd come back. You're like barely starting your day. I'd take a shower and I just eat and I pass out. And then you're like, keep going. Yeah, like cool. Like, which isn't to say that you weren't involved like in aspects of my training, but it's just kind of like, it was so visible, like what really training looks like. And I like didn't have that same drive with the other stuff for like the long term. So yeah, so I'm back to the gym again. I have a gym membership. I'm at 24 Hour Fitness. It's cool. I like that gym generally. I think, obviously different ones might have different facilities, but I think generally it has like a lot of stuff that I look for, like good amount of machines, the option to do some classes, maybe some other bonuses is really all I look for in a gym. And then like a decent price. I think the monthly is like, funny enough, I think it's like $24. I mean, there's probably different ones where it's like, you can only go on Tuesdays or some crap, right? But it's like pretty affordable. And I paid for the year up front. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm locked in here. And I think I am going to keep that into at least next year, because I really want to try to carry through my weightlifting more. Another one of my goals this year that I did accomplish was just gaining some weight. I'm like on the thinner end, not underweight, which is great. Like, I worked on making sure I was at a healthy weight, like way earlier in my life. Like, I spent a lot of my like college-y time working on my fitness and gaining some weight. And I did that, and that was cool. So I've been at a healthy weight like for many, 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 many years. But I'm like, I kind of want to be a little bit like bigger to try to like really just start knocking bitches out. You know what I mean? And also with just like how I want to look. I just want to like have a little more weight behind me to like feel like I can do more and whatever. So yeah, I'm at like, what would it be? Let's see. What is the BMI thing is kind of flawed BS anyway, but I'm at like the more like the middle range of like my BMI. Like I can still gain up to like, again, if you only go on BMI, which is a flawed system, but it's just a system, right? I can gain, I think, up to almost 15 more pounds and still be like at a healthy weight, or like 10 more pounds or something. So, okay, cool. I have some like space to work with, and I like really want to like take that and turn it into like more muscle to like just really just like hulkify my way through the world is my dream or whatever. But like you, I'd like to gain I think upper body strength would be really cool because I've never really had it. I have a lot of lower body strength from, lifting. And I don't know what it is, if this is like, if there's science behind it, but I find that like colloquially speaking to a lot of women and knowing like the fitness memes of women, we tend to be able to move a lot of like weight. I don't know why that is. Like leg day. Like there's always that joke of like a woman's leg day and it's like she's just a beast. And then it's like the upper body day. It can be a little bit more Winnie Hut Juniors. Again, not all women. I know plenty of women that can lift like crazy, but that's a lot of the memes in like our community of like, haha, like we can just like, kick the shit out of somebody, and then it's like the other stuff is a little bit harder. So I'd love to build that just to have it. Same like you, flexibility as well, and balance. My balance is really bad. Stand on one foot, I just topple over to the side of it. So I want to like gain more of that like ankle foot strength. But I
wonder if that comes from, and not getting too much into like our fitness history or anything like that, but I wonder if it comes like, I feel like I have pretty good balance, but I also like played traditional sport, like team sports growing up, as opposed to like running, which is a sport, but
it's solo dolo.
It's solo dolo, like I had to catch balls and throw balls, and like there's hand-eye coordination with all that.
Yeah,
and,
like I think running it's like such a specific thing. Like it is a very specific like output that requires diverse input, but the output is still just like you're running.
Yes.
Well, like a soccer or
basketball.
What'd you play? Was rugby or whatever?
Played rugby, basketball.
It's like that's like you're incorporating a lot of things at once in practice.
And there's dynamic output too.
Yes.
Because you're not just doing like running, it's you're just running.
Yeah, you just run. Yeah. But
like
this is the end.
Basketball, you're catching, you're passing, you're throwing, you're running.
The hand-eye coordination,
guarding,
and whatever.
You're jumping. Like there's a lot more dynamic output to the dynamic input.
And I think in running there is an aspect of balance, but I think it's also where like a lot of injuries, and that's something that like maybe we can just do an episode one day on just running, because I love to talk about running, and I don't do it a lot because it's just like I don't make really running content. Like sometimes I'll post like I ran today, but that's kind of like all I've done historically. But like there's so many misconceptions about running where it's like people will like get injured or like get kind of sore in a certain way, and they're like, oh, see, I can't do it, and it's like that's not really true. Like a lot of injuries, pending like having an underlying maybe like conditions and things like that, like a lot of injuries are just like signs of what your weaknesses kind of are, where it's like okay, like I spent a lot of time strengthening like my IT band and like doing exercises that target that kind of injury prevention. So I mean that's kind of basically it. I mean, I think my dream, because I want to come back into running is kind of the thing I forgot to mention, and do work on my abbots and work on PRs. I want to get all new PRs in my 30s. As like a fun little challenge and a little bit of an ego trip of like, like the best is yet to come. Even though at some point this is not gonna be true anymore. But you're
33 could be the year.
I mean, I think too, what the nice thing is like, look, these PRs aren't that crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I can get there. And then I want to work on the abbots, which if people don't know, which I feel like most people don't, the abbots are like I guess it's an organization in a way. It's a thing where like you can have these certain world marathons, and together they make up like the Abbott 6, which they're now expanding to like I think a 9, where they're gonna have still the OG 6, and now they're like an extra. Like it's like when they have a platinum for New Game Plus. It's like that basically. But the platinum of running, long distance running, is the Abbots. And we got Chicago, Boston, New York, and like 3 overseas ones that I forget. I want to say Tokyo. No, LA is not one of them. I wish, because I would already have it. I don't know. I forget where they are. I think Paris. One's like in London or something, but I forget the other ones.
Tokyo and somewhere else, I thought.
Something like that. And the really hard one's Boston, because you have to qualify. Technically, you can just run for charity and then you don't have to qualify, but I want to qualify because it's like, it is really hard to qualify. Like I need to shave like 2.5 hours off my time, like something insane.
Insane.
It's like, I think I have to run a 3.5, a 3 hour and 3.5 hour marathon. I couldn't say that for some reason. I think I have to Google it again because I forget the numbers, and I'm so far away. I'm like, it don't matter what I gotta run. I got a lot of stuff to work on for that. But that's like a fun dream to do. So I want to work on that. In my 30s and beyond, I'm sure it's going to take me a very long time to get that goal, for a lot of reasons: the training, the finances, the time off, like everything. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so I guess that's kind of, like I think my healthy life, to borrow your thing of like the peak fitness Isaiah that you want to be to, is I want to just like work out regularly again, but like the gym mixed with running, I think is my ideal. And you know, of course, shout out to the sleeping. That's been really huge for us lately. Going to bed at 10 or 11 is so much better for me than going to bed at 12 or 1. Like it's been insane.
Unfortunately.
Insanely better. And
I feel like all the fun still happens after 11 o'clock.
No, it doesn't. We're okay.
I know the content online gets better. It's somehow, I don't know why.
It's just fun to stay up late. And then also just like going outside more to get more sun. Cause like for the second year in the row, I've been vitamin D deficient, which is honestly kind of humiliating living in California but I work from home and I stay at home a lot. So I want to like get out and like walk a little bit more just to get some more sun. I want to go back to doing hiking and stuff. We have some hiking shoes that we haven't used that much.
Still some trails we got to check out and everything.
Yeah. But what are some of the last like nods you want to go? Like, what does your fitness look like? Are you just going to be doing runs?
Man.
Are you trying to like ever go to the gym? Sometimes you come to the gym with me, but you usually do the treadmill.
Yeah, I usually just do treadmill. My thing is, I feel like it wouldn't take much for me to get back to like
lifting.
Yeah. Like I still am very muscular, still very strong. I got, you know, some chunk over top the muscles for sure, right? You know, and I'm definitely not as strong as I used to be.
I was laughing because I was thinking of the audio that I'm a big dog. Yeah. And then I'm like, I'm a big dog.
Yeah. So like, you know, I still have there's definitely still improvements I can make there, but that gap between like where I want to be and where I am now, I feel like is a much easier path to overcome than where I am like cardio wise and where I want to be cardio wise. So I'm really focusing on cardio right now. You know, losing weight, having less weight to carry as I move around. I think it'll exponentially improve how far and how fast I can move around and all of that. So for now, focusing just on cardio. Might slowly introduce more like body weight calisthenic stuff into the equation, but I don't see myself like lifting heavy in the gym for a while. Just out of purely a prioritization kind of thing.
Yeah.
You should love it. Still feels good. Man, it feels so good getting like a lifting high. Like I thought runner's high was good, and it is good. Man, a lifting high is crazy. You hit a new PR or you lift that weight finally after you've been working on it for a while. And you do it clean. Ah, man, that's a feeling.
It is fun. It's a good time.
Yeah.
With my little like, I do mostly cable weights. I use a couple of like the machines on the free weight side where it's like, you plate it yourself instead of just like moving a stick or something. But I'm mostly like over on the cable side doing my little stuff.
I love cable machines, just even from a like
the form.
Yeah. It's I like the fluidity that like free weights give you for sure, right? Like you can just inherently do a little bit more dynamic stuff, but that's the sort of like point and pros of the like, you know, cable weights is that like you can't do that. You're isolating the movement more so that you focus and you target very specific muscles. So it's like it really is just like two different solutions for different things that you want. I love them both. Yeah. They're both fun.
You should come with me to a Pilates class sometime.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is Pilates? Is it like a lot of stretching?
Pilates can be a lot of things.
Right?
The one that I do, I've like done different. Everyone like does Pilates differently. It's kind of like the horchata of sports, where it's like it kind of tastes different every time, and maybe some of these are like not as like accurate to what it is. Because there's also like the Pilates classes that are like on the reformer. I've never done those. I'd want to sometime. I hear they're really hard. But it's like the one I do is kind of more. It's very like cardio focused. Like the shorthand for a lot of people is like yoga is more about like stretching and holding and like, you know, whatever, and like kind of relaxing or meditative. And then Pilates is like, what if instead you like had to do that like reps over and over again? Okay. But I think as far as like, it's got some cardio, it's got some balance, it's got like, it's not too stretchy from my memory, but you know, I have the
not opposed to it.
Isaiah gets to come with me because I have the buddy pass that you can add on for like I think it's like $15 or something a year to like add just anybody, which I think is like a sweet ass deal.
That is a crazy deal, yeah.
You know, so yeah,
which really just goes to show how much they're just charging people solo dollars.
Yeah, I guess it's like gyms. The negative look of it or whatever. But yeah, if you ever want to get your, I mean, I feel like there's not a world where you're going and I'm not going, so it just makes sense to do like the buddy thing. But yeah, so this is our exercise 2025 beta.
Yeah.
Which is another concept that maybe we could do an episode on, of the like, what if we start the goals early and then
The
you can go
yearly
into the
beta?
year.
Yeah.
You can go into the year just like carrying it through.
Yeah, hit the
So-
ground running with it.
But yeah, this week was good for us. We did a good job. I worked out. I did every workout I want to do except for I want to do a speed run. I didn't do that. I did a run with you. I did all my weight days, chest and tri, back and bi, legs. And yeah, that's like basically all I had. I guess like I said, I want to do one speed workout, but I didn't. I'll do a long run tomorrow of just 2 miles because I'm getting back into running. How's your soreness? I'm beat up. I'm physically devastated from the week.
I hit my goal of running every day this week, 2 miles a day, around that like 15-minute mile mark. So like fairly slow, right? I still even want to go slower and further, maybe do like 3 miles at like, I don't know, 18-minute mile pace or something like that. Just like really, again, work on that conditioning. My thighs are shot. Like yesterday they felt really bad. Today they feel a little bit better. I'm really hoping that resting today and tomorrow will get me back going so that on Monday I can run again and like feel good running again. But I also want to make sure I'm not like too sediment and like, you know, too much like lactic acid buildup and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's the podcast I tell you always says?
The motion is lotion.
Motion is lotion.
Yeah. So maybe I'll do like a walk to the car and back or something like that. Some walk down the street and turn around like halfway or something like that.
I will say I got pretty sore from when I did a stream yesterday for 4 hours, which is my normal stream time. When I got up, I felt really sore from that, from just sitting, I think, for so long. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my shoulders are so sore.
Yeah.
My arms are really sore.
Yeah.
My little tiny biceps. I got a little, little like some little lines. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been going 1 week down, a lifetime to go.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving.
Oh, yeah. Let's keep pushing.
All right, and that brings us to the poll of the show. Last week, we asked over on our Twitter, which is @GamesAndNot, and once Blue Sky adds that poll integration, baby, we can give it on Blue Sky.
I wrote down, I might look into just like even a third-party thing so that like we can have one poll across all platforms that we just link to.
That
and
could be
then
cool.
we get all the results in there and everything like that. I'll look into it.
Yeah. So we asked over on our Twitter, what best describes your music listening habits? We had 33.1% said I listen to playlists. We had the winner, which was 44.4%. I listen to albums.
Hell yeah, my people.
5.6, I listen to stations/auto. And then 16.9, I listen to specific songs. It's just songs. But it's a specific song, just one specific song. I think people got what I meant by that. Yeah, I'm surprised that albums was the highest because I feel like that's what I voted for as well. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like colloquially talking to people, I get like more of a playlist station vibe from people.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I think it probably really depends also on like where you are. Like, I don't know if people are putting on albums when they're in the car. Like the car, the office, those seem very much like stationy kind of activities. But at home, easy listening, you're working, you're doing something like that, doing homework or study session or something like that. I can see albums really coming into play there. So I don't know. Maybe but the people have spoken.
Yeah.
Albums won.
Albums
Almost
reign
half
supreme.
the people. Yeah, hell yeah. Let's go. This week's poll of the show, which you can find over on our Twitter @GamesAndNot, is going to be, what's the main way you exercise? Options are going to be workout, so like a home gym class kind of setup, play, so like sports, in general, kind of like playing activities, explore, so like biking, hiking, swimming, surfing kind of things. Or I don't really exercise. You're not yet on your 2025 beta, but maybe you got plans to do it. You're not doing anything yet. Let us know over in the poll there.
And that is it for this week. You can send us your questions and topics to the email inbox @gamesandnotgames.com. You can follow the podcast version of the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. If you enjoy the show, be sure to give us that 5-star rating.
5 stars. And if you're an audio listener, remember that you can get the video version over on YouTube @GamesAndNotGames. If you like the video, be sure to leave us a like, as it helps us get in front of more people. You can also give us a follow over on social medias. We're on Twitter at Games and Not, and everywhere else at Games and Not Games. That's Blue Sky, TikTok, Twitch, etc. And until next time, gang gang.
Gang gang.
Peace.